Just doing a quick video to show you all the trace process in a little bit more detail. I know it's the one thing which a lot of people struggle with to know when they've blended far enough. So I've melted my coconut oils. I'm actually doing a hot process today, but the process at the beginning is the same, so it doesn't make a difference. So my lye solution goes straight in. This will take a little bit longer to reach trace than yours might do because I'm doing a hot process, my lye is cold. Okay, so make sure you've got your gloves and goggles on. What I tend to do is give it a quick stir around with my blender first. If you're using a plastic jug, just make sure that you're holding the jug with the other hand because otherwise it has a tendency to spin round and round. And then once you've done that for a minute or two, you can just start with your blending. Right, what we're looking for is your oils and your lye being completely emulsified so they're not going to separate back out again. You don't want any traces of oils in your mixture at all. And you ideally need to just be able to have small trails along the top when you are drizzling it so that you can see the little batter trails, as it were. It's quite difficult to explain. This is very, very thin at the moment, and I've still got a little layer of oil around the top, so I'm just going to keep going on that. What you don't want to do is keep going until you've got this blancmange-like texture because it gets really difficult to pop in your mould then, and actually there's no need to blend to that point unless you're trying to achieve a certain look. I'm happy because I'm quite experienced that this has emulsified. I can see very thin trails along the top. And if I was working with this to do some nice colours or swirls, I would be happy with this. But I'm going to keep going beyond this, which is called a thin trace, so that you can see what a thicker trace is. So at the moment, this is like a very, very thin pancake batter. I don't really know whether it shows up on the video, but you can just about see it sits on the top and then sinks straight back in again. So let's keep going. Okay, very, very slightly thicker. The one thing you need to bear in mind is once you have blended your oils and butters together with your lye and they are emulsified, the saponification process begins and it will begin to get thicker and thicker on its own. So if you popped off now to pop the kettle on, for example, came back to it, you would find it had thickened up quite a lot anyway. So just bear that in mind if you're trying to work with a thinner batter. But this is what I would call towards a more medium trace. It's sitting on the top for a second or two before settling back down, but I'm just going to keep going so that you can see exactly what we're looking for a thicker trace. Okay. So I'm hopeful you can see on the top there, when you push your batter, it just sits like a gel-like, blancmange-like. That is quite, I mean, I personally wouldn't ever leave it to this thickness, to be honest, because I like mine at thinner so I can do the patterns. But if you're not sure, then it doesn't hurt at all to go to this point because you know then without a doubt that you have thickened it up. That you have blended it to trace. It is quite handy to have the thicker trace if you want to work with layers, so you want to layer different colours. But yeah, it all depends on what you're trying to achieve really. Okay, this is coconut oil soap, so it does thicken up really quickly anyway. You will find that the time it takes varies depending on the recipe that you're using. but hopefully that has helped a little bit. Okay.